The stars twinkled like distant dreams through the reinforced glass of Galactic Council Station Alpha. Commander He-Jin's reflection stared back at him from the observation deck window, his weathered face a mask of concern as he watched the Council ships moving into attack formation. Their sleek silver hulls gleamed in the light of the nearby sun, a beautiful yet terrifying sight that marked the end of 50 years of peace. He remembered the day Earth joined the Galactic Council. The celebrations had lasted weeks, with humans and aliens alike rejoicing in what they thought would be an eternal partnership. Now, those memories felt like ashes in his mouth. The door behind him hissed open. He-Jin didn't need to turn to know who it was. Ambassador Jin Woo's rapid breathing and hurried footsteps told him everything. The ambassador had run all the way from the council chambers, something a man of his position would only do in the direst circumstances. "They betrayed us," Jin Woo gasped, his usually impeccable formal robes now wrinkled and askew. His silver hair was damp with sweat, and his hands trembled as he gripped the back of a nearby chair. The council, they held the vote without Earth's representatives present. He-Jin turned slowly, his military training keeping his voice steady despite the anger burning in his chest. "Tell me everything." Jin Woo straightened his robes with shaking hands. "They're moving to destroy the Heritage Fleet. Our fleet, the one we discovered 3 months ago." His voice cracked with emotion. "Can you believe it? 3,000 years that fleet waited in the darkness, preserved by our ancestors, and now these aliens want to destroy it without even studying it properly." The discovery had been accidental. A routine archaeological expedition studying ancient space routes had detected unusual energy readings in a sector of space that should have been empty. What they found there had changed everything. A fleet of 7,000 ships, perfectly preserved, their technology far beyond anything currently known to the Council races. It should have been Earth's crowning achievement. Instead, fear had spread through the Council like a virus. The other races couldn't accept that humans had once possessed such advanced technology. They couldn't handle the idea that their primitive Earth allies might reclaim that power. Jin Woo moved to a nearby console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Security feeds appeared in the air before them, showing Council security forces moving through the station's corridors. "They're detaining our representatives," he said, his voice tight with fury, "claiming it's for public safety. They're calling our ancestors' fleet a threat to galactic peace." He-Jin watched as the feeds showed human diplomats being escorted to protective custody by armed guards. His jaw clenched so tight he could hear his teeth grinding. "They planned this," he said softly. "The vote, the detentions, it's all coordinated. They're making sure we can't stop them from reaching the fleet." A warning light flashed on the console. More Council ships were arriving through the nearby jump point, their weapons already charged. He-Jin could see their gun ports opening, preparation for what the Council would later call a peacekeeping action. "Contact Earth Command," He-Jin ordered, his voice carrying the weight of generations. "Now, use the encrypted channels. Tell them." He paused, knowing his next words would change the course of human history. "Tell them the Council has declared war on humanity's past and present. Tell them to wake up the fleet." Jin Woo's fingers flew across the console, sending the message that would alert Earth to the Council's betrayal. As he worked, He-Jin turned back to the window, watching more ships arrive. 50 years of trust and cooperation, destroyed by fear and jealousy. The console chimed, confirming the message had been sent. Now all they could do was wait and hope Earth's defenses could respond in time. He-Jin's reflection looked older in the glass, the weight of responsibility evident in his eyes. "What do we do now?" Jin Woo asked, his diplomatic training failing to hide the fear in his voice. He-Jin squared his shoulders, his military bearing becoming more pronounced. Now we show them why humanity survived long enough to join their council in the first place. We show them why our ancestors built that fleet, and why they were right to preserve it for us." The stars continued their eternal dance beyond the window, unaware and uncaring of the betrayal unfolding before them. Somewhere out there, humanity's legacy waited in the darkness, about to be either destroyed or awakened. The next few hours would determine which. Commander He-jin allowed himself one small smile. The Council thought they knew humanity. They thought they understood Earth's capabilities. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The holographic display flickered in the dim light of the archaeological ship's research bay, casting blue shadows across the ancient data crystal. The recovered logs played out a story that had remained untold for 3 millennia, revealing humanity's darkest hour through the words of Admiral Kita. The recording showed a woman with tired eyes and a determined expression, her uniform bearing the marks of countless battles. Earth Defense Command, final status report, she began, her voice steady despite the chaos visible in the background of the recording. The enemy continues to advance. We've lost contact with the Mars colonies. The Luna defense line has fallen. Behind her, officers rushed back and forth, their movements urgent and desperate. Through the windows of what appeared to be an orbital command center, the Earth below showed ugly scars of warfare, continents marked by the glow of burning cities. The enemy remains unknown, Kita continued, her hands clasped behind her back. Their technology exceeds our greatest weapons. Their motives are unclear. All attempts at communication have failed. But they've made one thing certain. They intend to wipe humanity from the galaxy. The recording jumped, showing Kita in a different location, now aboard what appeared to be a massive starship. Project Guardian is our last hope, she said, her uniform now bearing the dust of hasty evacuation. We've gathered our most advanced ships, our best technology, everything we could save. 7,000 vessels, crewed by artificial intelligence, maintained by self-repairing systems. The archaeologists who found this recording had been stunned by its implications. Modern humanity had always assumed their ancestors were primitive, that space travel was a recent achievement. This recording proved otherwise. The enemy believes they've cornered us. Kite's voice held a hint of satisfaction now. They don't realize that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology. It's our ability to plan for the future, even in our darkest hour. The recording showed massive ships, each one larger than anything in the current Earth fleet, moving into position. Their designs were elegant, advanced, speaking of a civilization far more sophisticated than anyone had imagined. We're hiding the fleet in the void between galaxies, Keated explained. A place no one would think to look. The maintenance eye will keep them ready, preserving our knowledge, our technology, our hope. When humanity rises again, when our descendants reach for the stars once more, they'll find what we've left for them. The camera panned across a massive hangar, showing robots and automated systems preparing the ships for their long sleep. The enemy thinks they're destroying us, Kita said, a small smile playing across her face. But they're just forcing us to evolve, to adapt, to become something new. The recording jumped again, showing Kita making her final entry. Her face was older now, marked by the weight of her decisions. Final entry. The fleet is hidden. 7,000 ships, our most advanced technology, preserved in the void between galaxies. The maintenance eye will keep them ready. Someone will find them when humanity needs them most. This is Admiral Kita, signing off. But there was more. The archaeologists had found additional logs, personal entries that revealed the true scope of Kita's plan. She had known that humanity would have to start over, to rebuild from nothing. She had known it would take thousands of years. To whoever finds this, her voice came from a different, more personal recording. I hope you understand why we did this. We could have used these ships in our final battle. We might have even won. But victory wasn't enough. We needed to ensure humanity's survival, not just for a day or a year, but forever. The logs showed her final moments aboard the command ship, watching as the fleet disappeared into the darkness between galaxies. We're not just preserving ships, she said softly. We're preserving hope, knowledge, power. Everything humanity achieved, waiting for the moment when it's needed most. As the current archaeologists studied these records, They found technical specifications that made them gasp. Weapons that could reshape planets. Engines that bent space itself. Medical technology that could rebuild bodies from almost nothing. All of it preserved, waiting, protected by AI systems so advanced they made modern computers look like children's toys. Kita's final message was brief but powerful. To our descendants, we believe in you. We trust you. When you find this fleet, it will be because you're ready for it. Use it wisely. Use it well. And remember, humanity survived not because of these ships, but because of what they represent. Our unwillingness to accept defeat, our determination to protect our future, our ability to hope even in the darkest night. The recording ended, leaving the archaeological team in stunned silence. They had uncovered not just humanity's past, but the key to its future. Now, with the Galactic Council moving to destroy this legacy, Kita's words rang with new meaning. She had preserved the fleet not just from humanity's ancient enemies, but from any force that might threaten humanity's right to grow, to learn, to reach its full potential. The fleet had waited 3,000 years in the darkness. Now, at last, its time had come. The void between galaxies was no longer empty. Hundreds of Council enforcer ships cut through space like silver arrows, their weapons primed and hulls gleaming under distant starlight. Captain Sunmai stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force vessel, resilient, her hands gripping the command rail until her knuckles turned white. Council ships entering weapons range, her tactical officer reported, his voice tight with tension. They're charging main guns, multiple targeting locks detected. Through the main viewport, Sunmai could see the ancient fleet spread out before them. 7,000 ships of impossible beauty, their dark hulls absorbing light in ways that modern technology couldn't explain. They hum motionless in space, sleeping giants unaware of the threat approaching them. This is Council command to Earth vessels. A cold voice came through the communication system. Stand down and withdraw. This is your only warning. Sunli's jaw clenched. Her ship, along with 30 other Earth vessels, had rushed to defend the fleet when the warning came from Earth Command. They were outnumbered 10-1, facing ships that outgunned them in every way. But she wouldn't move. Council Command, this is Captain Sunmai of the EDF Resilient, she replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Those ships are humanity's heritage. Stand down your weapons, or we will defend them. The response came in the form of energy weapons powering up across the Council fleet. Their gun ports glowed with gathered power, ready to destroy 3,000 years of human history. All Earth vessels, defend the fleet. Sunmai ordered, her voice carrying across the emergency broadcast channel. This is our history they're trying to destroy. Battle formations. Prepare to engage. The Council ships fired first, a wave of energy weapons that lit up space like artificial stars. Sunmai braced for impact, knowing their shields couldn't hope to stop such a barrage. But the shots never reached their targets. Space itself seemed to ripple, a shield of pure energy, unlike anything Sunmai had ever seen, bloomed across the void. The Council's weapons splashed against it like rain on glass, dissipating harmlessly. Captain, her science officer shouted, the ancient fleet, it's activating. One by one, lights began to appear across the dark hulls of the sleeping ships. Systems dormant for 3 millennia awakened, responding to the threat. The ship's designs, which had seemed elegant but simple, began to transform. Panels shifted, revealing weapon systems that made the Council's best guns look like toys. Incoming transmission, the communications officer reported, surprise evident in his voice. It's coming from the ancient fleet. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect modern Korean despite its age. Heritage Fleet Defense Protocol activated. Threat detected. Engaging autonomous defense systems. Sunmai watched in awe as the ancient ships moved with impossible grace, their formation shifting like a living thing. Energy fields rippled between them, creating a defensive network that no modern technology could penetrate. Council vessels, this is your final warning. The AI's voice broadcast on all frequencies. Your weapons are ineffective. Your shields cannot protect you. Withdraw immediately. The Council ships fired again, this time with their full arsenal. Missiles, energy weapons, and exotic particles filled space. The ancient fleet's shields didn't just block them. They absorbed the energy, growing stronger. They're not backing down, Sun Mi's tactical officer reported. Council ships are moving into attack formation. The ancient fleet responded. Weapons unlike anything in recorded history activated. Beams of light that bent space itself. Fields that temporarily suspended the laws of physics. The Council's mighty ships suddenly looked small and fragile. All Earth vessels, hold position. Sun Mi ordered, recognizing that this battle had moved beyond their capabilities. Let's see what our ancestors left us. The first counterattack from the ancient fleet disabled 50 Council ships without destroying them. Their engines simply stopped, their weapons powered down, their crews left floating harmlessly in space. Tactical analysis impossible, her science officer reported, staring at his readings in disbelief. These ships, their technology, it's beyond our ability to understand. More Council ships fell silent, their attacks proving useless against the ancient fleet's defenses. Sun Mi watched as 3,000 years of preserved human technology demonstrated exactly why the Council had feared it so much. Council command, she broadcast, allowing herself a small smile. Perhaps we should discuss this situation more diplomatically. The battle wasn't over. The Council still had ships in position, and pride would prevent them from surrendering easily. But as Sun Mi watched the ancient fleet protect itself with impossible technology, she understood what Admiral Kita had preserved for humanity. It wasn't just ships, it wasn't just weapons. It was proof that humanity had once reached heights that even the mighty Galactic Council couldn't match. And now, after 3,000 years of waiting, that legacy was awake and ready to defend itself. The stars watched silently as history changed course, as humanity's past rose to protect its future. Lieutenant Taiho's boots echoed on metal floors that hadn't felt human footsteps in 3,000 years. The boarding team had expected darkness, silence, maybe even decay. Instead, they found themselves in corridors that seemed to glow with inner light, surfaces unmarred by time. "This is impossible," he whispered, his hand trailing along a wall that felt warm to the touch. Behind him, his team moved carefully, their standard-issue weapons looking oddly primitive in these ancient halls. They had managed to dock with the lead vessel of the Heritage Fleet during the chaos of the battle. While the ancient ship's defensive systems handled the Council forces, a small window of opportunity had opened. Now they were inside, and everything they knew about their ancestors was being rewritten with each step. The corridor opened into what could only be the command center. As Taiho crossed the threshold, the room came alive. Holographic displays flickered into existence, filling the air with streams of data. Chairs rose from the floor, adjusting themselves to human proportions. Light panels shifted from dormant blue to active gold. Integration protocols initiated, a voice announced in perfect Korean, though the accent was unlike anything Taiho had ever heard. "Welcome, descendants." His team raised their weapons instinctively, but Taiho held up his hand. "Hold fire," he ordered, his eyes fixed on the holographic interface forming in front of him. The symbols were old, but he could read them. Ship status, weapon systems, defensive capabilities. "I am ARIA," the voice continued. "Advanced Responsive Intelligence Assistant, Primary Control System of the Guardian Fleet. You are the first human life forms to board this vessel in 3,000 years, 2 months, and 17 days. Taiho stepped forward, his heart pounding. "I'm Lieutenant Taiho of the Earth Defense Force. We're here because the Galactic Council attempts to destroy this fleet," ARIA interrupted. "Their attack patterns suggest minimal technological advancement since our time. Their weapons are quaint." A new hologram appeared, showing the battle outside. Council ships continued their futile assault while the ancient fleet's defenses held firm. Each impact against their shields seemed to make them stronger. "This ship houses technology beyond your current understanding," Araya explained. "However, genetic markers confirm your status as descendants. Integration protocols are designed to bridge the gap between your current knowledge and our capabilities." Suddenly, information began flowing directly into Taiho's mind. He gasped as understanding bloomed. How the ships worked, why they were built this way, what they could do. The knowledge felt natural, as if he'd always known it, but had simply forgotten. "Neural interface active," Araya announced, beginning full systems initialization. The command center transformed. Surfaces that had seemed solid became transparent, giving them a full view of space around the ship. Taiho could feel the vessel's systems responding to his thoughts, eager to serve after millennia of waiting. "Sir," one of his team members called out, "what's happening?" Taiho turned to them, his eyes glowing slightly from the neural interface. "We're waking up. All of it. Everything our ancestors left for us." He could see it now, the true purpose of the fleet. Not just weapons and shields, but terraforming systems that could make dead worlds live. Medical technology that could cure any disease, repair any injury. Engines that could cross galaxies in days. The Council feared this, he realized, speaking both to his team and to Araya. They weren't afraid of our weapons. They were afraid of how far ahead of them we used to be. "Correct," Araya confirmed. "Your ancestors achieved levels of technology that your current allies cannot comprehend. They hid this fleet not out of weakness, but to allow younger races to develop naturally." Through the neural interface, Taiho accessed more of the ship's history. He saw the ancient enemy that had forced humanity to hide this fleet. He understood why Admiral Kita had chosen preservation over immediate victory. "Full systems are now online," Araya announced. "All ships in the fleet report ready status. Lieutenant Taiho, as ranking human officer present, you have command authority." The power at his disposal was staggering. With a thought, he could disable every Council ship in the sector. With another, he could send them all safely back to their homeworlds. The technology surrounding him didn't just surpass current capabilities. It operated on principles that modern science hadn't even discovered yet. "Sir," his team waited for orders, watching as their lieutenant stood at the center of technology beyond their imagination. Taiho smiled, feeling the wisdom of his ancestors flowing through the neural interface. "Contact Earth Command," he said. "Tell them the fleet isn't just awake, it's ready. And then let's show the Council exactly why they should have asked permission before trying to destroy our heritage." Around them, the ancient vessel hummed with power, ready to remind the galaxy that humanity's past contained wonders that even their present had yet to dream of. The holographic command center aboard the ancient flagship, Guardian's Light, hummed with activity as General Minna stood before the assembled commanders. Her uniform, a blend of modern Earth Defense Force design and activated ancient tech, seemed to glow with its own inner light. "We didn't start this war," she declared, her voice carrying to every ship in the combined fleet through neural interfaces. "But we will finish it." Her eyes swept across the gathered officers, both those physically present and those attending via hologram. "The Council gave us no choice. They tried to destroy our heritage. Now they'll learn why our ancestors were feared across the galaxy." Through the neural link, she could feel every ship in the fleet, 7,000 ancient vessels awakened from their long sleep, now joined by the 40 modern Earth ships that had come to their defense. The difference in technology was staggering, yet they worked together with perfect harmony. "Battle plan is as follows," Minna continued, bringing up a tactical display that filled the chamber. "The Council has gathered their main fleet at these coordinates. 2,000 ships, their best weapons, everything they could scramble on short notice." Lieutenant Taiho, now serving as her tactical officer, stepped forward. "Their ships are arranged in traditional defensive formations. They're expecting us to attack head-on, trying to break through their lines." A smile crossed Minna's face. They don't understand what they're facing. Show them. The tactical display shifted, showing the true capabilities of the ancient fleet. Ships that could phase through solid matter. Weapons that could temporarily suspend the laws of physics in localized areas. Defensive systems that didn't just block attacks, they redirected the energy, making the fleet stronger. Our modern ships will take forward positions, Minot explained. The Council needs to see that humanity stands united, past and present. Ancient vessels will provide support and protection. Remember, we're not here to destroy them. We're here to show them why diplomacy was the wiser choice. The battle plan unfolded in 4 dimensions through the holographic display. Modern Earth ships would engage the Council fleet conventionally, drawing their attention. Meanwhile, the ancient ships would demonstrate their superiority in ways that left no room for doubt. All ships, battle stations, Minna ordered, launch in 5 minutes. As the commanders returned to their vessels, Minna felt the ancient ship's AI, connecting with her mind. Your strategy honors your ancestors, the AI observed. They too sought to end conflicts with minimal loss of life. The fleet moved out, a sight that would be remembered for generations. Modern Earth ships, their hulls gleaming with standard metals and alloys, flew in formation with vessels that seemed to bend light around them. The contrast was beautiful and terrifying. The Council fleet appeared ahead of them, their ships arranged in textbook defensive patterns. Their weapons powered up, ready to face what they thought would be a conventional battle. All ships, execute battle plan Guardian, Minna commanded. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ancient vessels phased through Council ship shields as if they didn't exist, emerging inside their formations. Weapons fired that didn't destroy but simply disabled, leaving Council crews helpless but unharmed. Space itself seemed to fold and twist as the ancient fleet demonstrated technology that operated beyond current understanding. Modern Earth ships played their part perfectly, their conventional attacks forcing the Council fleet to divide their attention. The combination of familiar and impossible tactics threw the enemy into confusion. Council command, this is General Minna. She broadcast on all frequencies. Your ships are being disabled. Your weapons cannot harm us. Surrender now, and let's discuss this situation like civilized beings. The response came in the form of more attacks. Energy weapons, missiles, exotic particles. The ancient fleet's defenses absorbed them all, growing stronger with each impact. It was exactly what Minna had expected. Very well, she said softly. Show them what we can really do. The ancient ships moved in perfect coordination, their systems operating on principles that modern science couldn't explain. Council ships found their weapons turning off, their engines shutting down, their communications going silent. Not through destruction or violence, but through technology so advanced it might as well have been magic. Within 20 minutes, the mighty Council fleet hung powerless in space. No lives lost, no ships destroyed. But the message was unmistakable. Humanity's past contained power that their present had only begun to understand. Minna stood in the command center, watching as the last Council ships fell silent. Send the message again, she ordered. Let's see if they're ready to talk now. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity had reclaimed its heritage, and now they had to decide how to use it. As Minna looked out at the disabled Council fleet, she thought about Admiral Kita and the choice made 3,000 years ago. They had inherited not just power, but responsibility. The wisdom to know when to use it and when to hold back. That, perhaps, was the greatest gift their ancestors had left them. The ancient Council archives stretched deep beneath the surface of the galactic capital world, a maze of data crystals and holographic storage systems. Researcher Jaho stood in the center of it all, his hands trembling as he held a crystal that contained the truth humanity had been seeking for 3,000 years. Play it again, he whispered to the archive system. The hologram flickered to life, showing a recording so old that its very existence was remarkable. The image showed a meeting chamber, filled with beings from dozens of ancient species. And there, standing at the center, was Admiral Kita. "The enemy is defeated," her recorded voice echoed through time. "But victory has taught us something we cannot ignore. Our technology, our advancement. It's too much, too soon for this galaxy." Jai-Ho watched as the ancient council members listened, their expressions showing a mix of fear and respect. This wasn't the corrupt council of the present, but its predecessor from 3 millennia ago. "We've made arrangements," Kita continued in the recording. "Our fleet, our technology, our knowledge, all of it will be hidden. Not destroyed, not abandoned, but preserved. When the younger races are ready, when they've had the chance to develop on their own terms, they'll find what we've left for them." The truth hit Jai-Ho like a physical force. He activated his emergency communication link to Earth Command. Within minutes, he was speaking to a chamber full of Earth's highest-ranking officials through holographic projection. "You need to see this," he began, his voice urgent. "Our ancestors didn't hide the fleet because they were losing. They didn't do it out of fear or weakness. They did it to protect the younger races, including us, from themselves." He played the recording for them. The chamber fell silent as Admiral Kita's words crossed the centuries. "Think about it," Jai-Ho explained, pacing as he spoke. "Our ancestors had technology that made the current council look primitive. If they had stayed, if they had maintained their presence in the galaxy, what would have happened? Every other race would have either become dependent on human technology or been too intimidated to develop their own." The archives contain more records of debates, discussions about the ethical implications of advanced civilizations interacting with developing ones. Kita and her contemporaries had seen the future clearly. A galaxy where one species' advancement prevented others from reaching their full potential. Our ancestors knew that if they remained, their technology would stunt the growth of new civilizations. Jai-Ho continued, his words carrying the weight of revelation. "They didn't abandon us. They gave us, and everyone else, a chance to grow on our own terms." The evidence was overwhelming. Charts showing how contact with ultra-advanced civilizations affected developing ones. Studies of species that had given up their own technological development in favor of trading for advanced tech. The pattern was clear. The current council's fear wasn't entirely wrong, Jai-Ho admitted, but they misunderstood the threat. Our ancestors' fleet isn't a weapon waiting to be used against them. It's a gift, waiting until all races in the galaxy were ready to share it. More recordings played, showing how carefully the ancient humans had planned their withdrawal. They had calculated exactly how long it would take for new civilizations to develop naturally. They had designed their hidden fleet to wait until the galaxy's species had reached a certain level of advancement on their own. Look at these specifications. Jai-Ho highlighted sections of technical data. The fleet's eye wasn't just programmed to preserve the ships. It was watching, waiting for signs that the galaxy's civilizations had developed enough independence and wisdom to handle the knowledge it contained. The implications were staggering. The Council's attempt to destroy the fleet hadn't just been an attack on human heritage, it had been an unwitting attempt to destroy a gift meant for all species. Our ancestors weren't warriors hiding their weapons, Jai-Ho concluded. They were teachers, preparing a lesson that could only be learned when students were ready. And now, thanks to the Council's attack, that lesson is being taught ahead of schedule. The Earth Command Chamber erupted in discussion. Some argued for immediately sharing this information with the Council. Others wanted to keep it secret, to maintain tactical advantage. "There's more," Jai-Ho said, holding up another data crystal. Instructions from Admiral Kita herself, meant for whoever found the fleet. A message about how this knowledge should be shared, how to help other races understand and adapt to it without overwhelming them. As he prepared to play this final recording, Jai-Ho thought about how history had come full circle. 3,000 years ago, humanity had been wise enough to step back and let others grow. Now they had the chance to help those others take their next steps forward. The ancient archives held countless more secrets waiting to be discovered. But this one truth changed everything. Humanity's greatest achievement hadn't been building the fleet. It had been choosing to hide it until the time was right. The orbital station New Horizon hung like a jewel against Earth's blue sphere, its crystalline structures reflecting sunlight in patterns that symbolized hope. Inside the Grand Assembly Hall, representatives from 100 worlds gathered, their faces showing a mix of awe, fear, and curiosity. Ambassador Yun Ha walked the central podium, her steps measured and confident. Through the vast windows behind her, two fleets floated in perfect formation, the sleek shapes of modern Earth vessels alongside the impossible geometries of their ancient counterparts. The sight made many representatives shift uncomfortably in their seats. 3,000 years ago, she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall. Humanity made a choice. Today, we make another. She gestured to the assembled delegates, acknowledging their presence. The time of the Council's corruption is over. Not because we defeated them, but because we understand why our ancestors chose to hide their power in the first place. Holographic displays activated around the hall, showing images from the recovered archives. Admiral Kitez's face appeared, her ancient message playing for all to hear. We step back not in defeat, but in hope. Let the younger races find their own path to the stars. We offer partnership, not dominance. Yunhe continued, her words carrying the weight of millennia. Our ancestors left us this legacy not to rule, but to protect. Let us build something better together. The hall erupted in murmurs. A Centaurian delegate stood, his crystalline form catching the light. And why should we trust humans with such power? The old council may have been corrupt, but at least their corruption was limited by their technology. Yunhe smiled. Computer, display the activation protocols for the ancient fleet. The holograms shifted, showing complex code sequences. Our ancestors built safeguards into every ship. The fleet cannot be used for conquest or oppression. It will only activate to defend, to protect, to help others grow. More delegates rose, asking questions, expressing concerns. Yunhe answered each one with patience and clarity. She explained how the ancient fleet's technology could be shared safely, how its medical advances could save lives across the galaxy, how its environmental systems could restore dying worlds. Look at those ships, she said, pointing to the view behind her. The ancient and the modern, flying together. That's our future, not one species dominating others, but all of us growing together, learning from each other. The Arcturian representative, their bioluminescent form pulsing with thought patterns, spoke next. And what guarantees do we have that humans won't repeat the mistakes of the old council? The best guarantee possible, Yunhe replied. The wisdom of our ancestors, who understood that true power lies not in domination, but in helping others reach their potential. She activated one final hologram, a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, showing thousands of worlds, millions of potential paths forward. This is what our ancestors protected. Not just humanity's future, but everyone's. They could have ruled the galaxy. Instead, they chose to give every species a chance to develop, to grow, to become what they were meant to be. The assembly hall grew quiet as understanding dawned. The ancient fleet wasn't a weapon to be feared, but a gift to be shared. Its technology wasn't meant to elevate one species above others, but to help all rise together. We propose a new beginning, Yun had declared. A galactic assembly where all voices are heard, where technology is shared responsibly, where we help each other grow without forcing anyone down a path they haven't chosen. Outside, the combined fleet began to move, forming a new pattern, not a display of power, but a dance of cooperation. Modern ships weave between ancient ones, their movements telling a story of past and present united for a better future. The choice is yours, Yunhe concluded. We can continue as separate species, fearful of each other's advancement, or we can move forward together, learning from humanity's past mistake of advancing too quickly and our ancestors' wisdom in stepping back to let others grow. One by one, the delegates stood, not in fear or submission, but in understanding. A new age was beginning, not one of dominance and corruption, but of partnership and growth. As the votes were cast and the new Galactic Assembly took shape, Yun-Ha looked out at the combined fleet once more. Somewhere, she thought, Admiral Kita was smiling. Their ancestors' gift had finally been understood, and their wisdom would guide not just humanity, but all species toward a brighter future. The dawn of a new era had arrived, built on the foundation of a choice made 3,000 years ago, when humanity had been wise enough to step back and wait for the right moment to step forward again.